Hello Moto GP fans, welcome back to ZNGP today. After two underwhelming weekends, Pecco Bagnaia and his Ducati crew found their rhythm again at MotorLand Aragón. A solid third-place finish on Sunday wasn't just a return to form. It was a quiet triumph for methodical work, precise technical changes, and the calm leadership of Cristian Gabarrini. Ducati's veteran technical chief broke down the comeback in a post-race debrief, pointing to brake upgrades, rider confidence, and the power of patience as key factors in the turnaround. Fresh off a podium-filled race weekend, Márquez returned to the track for post-race testing at MotorLand Aragón, not to chase times, but to solve problems. The Gresini rider capped off a strong showing with an 8th-place finish in testing, 0.579 seconds off the top spot. More than lap times, however, it was the experiments beneath the surface that defined his Monday. Quartararo left Aragón without a trophy, but with a pointed message. Yamaha's post-race test program, packed with new components and a growing technical staff, is not yielding the breakthroughs he believes are necessary. At the heart of his critique is a familiar name, Andrea Dovizioso. Quartararo, while diplomatic in tone, is clearly signaling that unless Yamaha starts leveraging its assets more effectively, both mechanical and human, their road back to competitiveness will remain frustratingly long. One of the worst-kept secrets in the paddock is now official. Toprak Razgatlioglu will make the leap to Moto GP in 2026 with the Pramac Yamaha team. The move reunites the Turkish ace with Yamaha after his historic 2024 World SBK title campaign with BMW, and sets up one of the most intriguing crossovers in recent MotoGP memory. A fierce rider known for his daring brake zone heroics, Toprak arrives with pedigree and fanfare, and big expectations. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Gabarrini was quick to underline that there was no magic bullet in Aragón. The podium was earned through disciplined, focused work throughout the weekend. Bagnaia had shown signs of progress during free practice and qualifying, and despite a tough sprint race, the upward trend continued. "We worked well all weekend. Pecco was much better than in the last two rounds. In the race, he reaped the results of working methodically," Gabarrini reflected. It wasn't dominance, but it was measured progress. And for a team coming out of a rough patch, that was exactly what was needed. One subtle but impactful change on Bagnaia's GP25 was the use of larger brake discs. While not a dramatic upgrade on paper, Gabarrini said this was likely the single most important tweak of the weekend. "The brakes were perhaps what made the difference," he admitted. The improved stopping power didn't just help Pecco feel more confident in hard braking zones, it allowed him to control the race rhythm more effectively and maintain consistency over the long run. Throughout his career, Bagnaia has emphasized that small setup changes can have outsized effects. Gabarrini agrees, and used a famous example from Ducati's past to make the point. "Sometimes it's just a little thing," he said, comparing the brake disc change to Lorenzo's now famous tank adjustment, which helped him unlock performance and comfort in 2018. That kind of breakthrough, where a bike suddenly becomes intuitive, can't always be planned. But when it happens, it often marks the beginning of a stronger run. While Ducati was grateful for the post-race Aragón test, Gabarrini tempered expectations. One day of testing, especially with new material to evaluate, doesn't allow for deep experimentation. It's mostly used to try new things, but continuing on a track where you just went well is always useful. The limited time didn't change much, but it helped solidify the gains they made across the Grand Prix weekend. Ducati's technical boss didn't sugarcoat the pressure that comes with poor results. But instead of reacting with panic, he emphasized composure and long-term perspective. "It's part of our job, you have to be ready when everything goes wrong." He pointed to Márquez's comeback from injury as a benchmark of resilience. Compared to that, their recent slump was minor. but still a reminder of how quickly momentum can shift in Moto GP. After Sunday's race, Pecco made a beeline for Gabarrini and park firm. That moment spoke volumes about the trust between rider and team, especially when bouncing back from tough times. You win and lose together, it's something you take for granted. Bagnaia's third-place finish in Aragon wasn't the flashiest result of the year, but inside the Ducati garage, it meant much more. It was a sign that the puzzle pieces are starting to align again, and that even in a sport obsessed with tenths of a second, sometimes the biggest difference comes from the smallest detail. Márquez was clear. Test day wasn't about speed. It was about problem solving. Just like in Jerez, the team used the time to chase setup issues they couldn't address during the intensity of a Grand Prix weekend. We tried a few things with the fork and shock absorber. Sometimes problems come up that are hard to fix during a GP. That's what we addressed today, Alex explained. Rather than sticking to small tweaks, Márquez said they explored radical changes that wouldn't be possible or wise under race conditions. The goal? Long-term solutions, not instant gains. Despite all the experimentation, the Aragon track itself didn't help make things any clearer. According to Márquez, the circuit was in great condition, which ironically made it tougher to gauge the true effect of the changes. The track had a lot of grip. That made it easy to ride, maybe too easy. It made it harder to understand what was really working. In other words, the comfort masked the problems. But he wasn't discouraged, just realistic. Márquez also joined a small group of riders testing the new radio communication system, which Dorna intends to make mandatory in 2026. This was his first taste of in-helmet audio during riding, though he clarified that Monday's test wasn't a full simulation of live team communication. It wasn't like someone was giving instructions from the pit, he said. It was just a voice repeating itself constantly. The novelty wasn't without challenges. At race pace, processing a voice in your ear isn't as simple as it sounds. It's not easy to understand the voice in many corners, Márquez admitted. You might pay more attention when it's just one clear message. But I've tried it, and I'd say it went well. In a small twist, Márquez also briefly rode a GP25 prototype, reportedly at the request of Ducati's Pecco Bagnaia, who wanted feedback from fellow Ducati riders. But for Márquez, it was more of a formality than a revelation. We finished early. There wasn't anything big left to test. He shrugged. Still, the exposure to next year's bike could prove useful if Ducati considers Márquez for a factory seat, or at least includes him in setup discussions across teams. Though his name didn't top the timesheets, Márquez left Aragon satisfied. Radical changes, tricky feedback conditions, new tech, none of it led to a breakthrough lap, but all of it added pieces to the puzzle. With 2 silver trophies already pocketed from the weekend, he now carries something even more valuable into the next round: confidence in the process. Dovizioso began testing with Yamaha in 2024 and has become a more visible presence in 2025, appearing in the paddock and supporting the factory team. Yet, according to Quartararo, his technical insight is being left on the sidelines. Dovi knows how to articulate problems in a way that engineers understand, and Quartararo believes Yamaha is missing out on a powerful resource. We aren't using him enough. The team must give him the possibility to go more deeply into the technical side. Aragon's Monday test offered a glimpse at Yamaha's ongoing development push. Quartararo tried a new engine, updated electronic strategies, and fairing tweaks. While there were minor gains, they didn't move the needle. Yamaha still feels stuck in a cycle of small changes without a leap forward. The engine feels better, but we still haven't taken the bigger steps we need. Despite 4 days of running, Quartararo says the bike still lacks mechanical grip, an issue dating back to 2022. He pointed out that engineers see the numbers, but only a rider can truly feel the issue. Until Yamaha addresses this disconnect, progress will remain elusive. Mechanical grip is where we can make a good step, but we haven't found it. Frustration is mounting as Quartararo suggests Yamaha doesn't even know how much performance it's leaving on the table. Without a clear grasp of what's possible, development feels reactionary. The team is working hard, but not always smart. There is a lot to gain, but nobody knows how much we could actually find. Quartararo will skip Yamaha's upcoming private test in Barcelona. While test riders and satellite team members will gather data, the decision feels symbolic. Until Yamaha solves its fundamental issues, more testing isn't the solution, a statement Quartararo made without needing to spell it out. I won't do the test in Barcelona. It makes no sense to try a lot of tracks when we haven't solved our core issues. Yamaha's rebuilding phase continues, but Quartararo's patience is clearly wearing thin. His call for Dovizioso's deeper involvement and sharper engineering decisions is more than a critique, it's a warning. The team may have the tools, but time is running out to use them wisely. Razgatlioglu first lifted a superbike title with Yamaha in 2021 and now returns to the Japanese manufacturer after taking BMW to the pinnacle in 2024. His decision to join Pramac Yamaha comes as both a homecoming and a fresh challenge, and signals Yamaha's intent to reshape its Moto GP strategy ahead of sweeping technical changes in 2027. His fighting spirit and determination are a perfect fit for both the Prima Pramac Yamaha Moto GP team and Yamaha's bold Moto GP strategy. Paolo Pavizio's statement. Toprak's contract is a one-year deal for 2026. An unusually short commitment for such a high-profile rider. But it's a calculated arrangement for both parties. With MotoGP's next major regulation reset coming in 2027, Yamaha may be positioning itself to assess Toprak's adaptation before committing long-term. For Razgatlioglu, it's a no-lose scenario. Deliver results early, and he cements his spot on the Premier Class grid. Both sides are playing the long game, with a short-term lens. Razgatlioglu's arrival creates immediate uncertainty for Pramac's 2025 lineup. Jack Miller and Miguel Oliveira are currently under contract, but only Miller's deal expires this year. Despite Oliveira's inconsistency, Miller is the likely exit, a tough pill given his stronger performances this season. MotoGP's musical chairs continue, and this one comes with championship credentials. While fans have long dreamed of Toprak in MotoGP, questions remain about how his aggressive, rear-heavy style will translate to prototype machinery. His unmatched feel on the brakes and late corner commitment have made him a standout in World SBK, but adapting to Michelin tires and carbon brakes is a steep curve. If Toprak adapts, he could become a box office draw and a game-changing addition to the grid. Toprak Razgatlioglu's move to Pramac Yamaha is more than a rider switch, it's a shift in vision. For Yamaha, it's a bold bet on proven talent and personality. For Pramac, it's a high-reward play with potential championship implications. And for Toprak himself, it's the moment fans have been waiting for. A new frontier, a new challenge, and the chance to prove he belongs among the MotoGP elite. Thanks for watching ZNGP today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!